Rapping with kingdom builders, bringing the soldiers together as we fight the spiritual war. Every sisters, every brothers, all the believers.
So we're continuing our
Host by Ian Gowans,
chat with
bring
Dr. Stennett Davis from last week. Last week
kingdom builders.
we heard of the transformation that God used him to lead in the community of Grey Ground. We also had a sneak peek in the great work that he's doing over there in St. Anne. And it was just an awesome interview. We had, it was an awesome chat. We had to ask him just to bless us with a little bit more of his time this morning as we talk to him some more. Dr. Stennett Davis, God bless you. Welcome, sir.
Morning to you, Mr. Gowans, and your listeners nationwide.
Yes.
Happy to be with you on the airwave once more.
We are indeed happy to have you.
Yes.
Greetings, Doc. Greetings. It's good. It's a pleasure to have you back, and Happy New Year to you and your family, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have so many things to talk to Doc about. He has so many great experiences to share with us. You know, one thing that sits with me from last week, he said, as it relates to ministry, one size doesn't fit all because depending on what the area that you're in and where God is leading you, you have to take guidance and leadership from the Holy Spirit itself. And I am in total agreement with him. All right. But last week I specifically mentioned that we would love to touch your work in the school community as one, just to share with us your experience and things that are happening as a man of God. All right, so we get right into it. Our school system, as it is now, Doc, it's my personal view is that the challenges that are in our school system goes way beyond just having a child come and you are now tasked with the responsibility of imparting or sharing knowledge with that child. It goes way beyond that. There are some adversities. There are some spiritual issues to deal with along the way. And I'm certain that you would have had some of those to encounter. So share with us, Doc, how is it that you would prepare yourself to go out there and not only to teach, but really to minister in the classrooms?
Okay. Let me really date back to 1997 when I entered the educational system as an educator. So much would have changed from then to this point. As you would agree, we're living in a changing world, and globalization would have impacted greatly to the skills one impart as a teacher. But I've had several transitions from lecturing, and I'm presently serving in the area of guidance and counseling. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I would have aspired over the years, or would have worked so hard over the years to get to guidance and counseling. Mm-hmm. Guidance and counseling aligns itself to my biblical mandate, my biblical calling, because most of the issues that our students are facing, they are really related to spiritual challenges that can really be addressed through pastoral counseling effected by prayer. So I am presently serving as a guidance counselor, and I think it really aligns my biblical mandate, my biblical gifting in serving in the school. There's a whole range, a whole gamut of challenges that our students are facing, and while I was lecturing, the time just wasn't there to administer to all of these, but the baton of guidance and counseling that I'm now using would have allowed me to administer some of my experiences, skills, and even spiritual giftings to these students. Some of the challenges that we do face, and I just want to professionally make it clear that I'm not speaking specific to the place that I work.
Right.
These would have been my general views and general observations.
Right.
From the counseling angle.
Yes.
Our students are facing substance abuse, relational issues, as you know, relating to dysfunctional family units, financial challenges, career choices, sexuality. This is a fast rising one. Our students are really challenged with sexuality issues, and of course death and grief. I was a part of a survey that was done not long ago with some counselors, and the survey revealed over 100 students were interviewed, and the survey revealed that 80% of the students interviewed, their fathers were not active in their life. As a matter of fact, their fathers contributed none at all to their educational pursuits. So dysfunctional family units would have pushed us to the top of the list when it comes to some of the challenges that our students are facing. So these are the present challenges that I would have observed as a counselor that we would have to work with daily in the educational institution.
Thank you, Doc. So you touched on something, though, the father's been absent. Just delve a little bit more into that. Are you saying a part of the problems that, in your case as a professional working with students, teenagers, one of the severe problems that you face are the spill off, if I might use that terminology, from not having a father at home to help to guide those children?
Definitely so. Definitely so. The financial challenges that most of our students face, if there was an active father figure, I doubt that would have been staring us in the face, in the educational system. The sexuality challenges that are also on the fast rise,
Yes.
and if our father figures were present, I'm quite certain some of our young men, some of our young ladies would
Yes.
not be facing these sexuality challenges that they are presently facing. There's a need for our father figures to be a part of their children's development. There definitely there is a need.
Yes.
So, Reverend, even though you are operating as a guidance counselor, but you're also being directed by a spiritual mandate. From your standpoint, in what way can the church reach out to the fatherless?
So, as I said last week, that our church leaders will have to study the context in which they lead. And as I said last week, also in Glasgow, my mandate is to better family lives. And if our church leaders could really adopt programs, analyze, implement programs that would better family life, I'm quite certain the challenges coming from dysfunctional family units that here's us in the educational system would be minimized. So our church leaders need to identify programs to really impact or to develop or to better family life itself. I'm quite certain we'd have a spillover into the classroom, less
Yes.
dysfunctional family unit challenges.
So, from your ministry, if you don't mind sharing with us some of the strategies that you have employed as a way of reaching out to the family enrichment, dealing with the issue of dysfunctional family units in the community. Would you mind sharing with us some of the approaches that you have been using?
Of course, I would be willing to. Last year, I think it was November of last year, we had what was called a family day. There was no preaching at church this Sunday. The teenagers were in one section, married persons were in another section, the singles were in another section, and we had speakers in from all over the island. This was a Sunday, no sermon. And the teens would have, through discussions, these different groups would have discussed, and the challenges that they would have been facing would come up, and they were dealt with by these professionals. Let me say that it was a group of skilled guidance counselors and clinical counselors drawn from across the island that were really invited to come in and to help to deal with some of the family problems that we're facing. And this was a Sunday because the bulk of our attendance would have been on a Sunday. So the entire program was so reshaped, the Sunday service, to deal with issues that are truly affecting the family. That was just one initiative. Another initiative we had in our last year, which would repeat, is this church here, at least for senior citizens, is worked tremendously because there are a lot of our senior citizens that are really parked aside in our communities, and they still have so much to contribute. We had some retired principals, we had some retired teachers, policemen that still have a lot to offer to society. So this is Citizens Day, their recognition coming back to the forefront really meant a lot for them. Also in our church, we cease not to help financially in areas where we see that there's a breakdown in a specific family unit. We help our youngsters wherever we can. Whatever help we can find as a church financially, we really try to help our youngsters in their pursuit for education. In our church, we have what is called a young ladies group. Right? These young ladies are under the age of 18, presently being tutored by some mature ladies. In our church, we also have what is called youth fellowship. The programs in the youth fellowship are so adopted to better family life, to groom young men and to groom young ladies to become better citizens of Jamaica and even beyond. So you've asked a very good question. If our leaders can go back to implementing programs within the churches, because let me tell you, it's a known fact in Jamaica, most churches are a square mile. And if our churches would really go back to some of the small things, and you don't have to talk about resources, because right where your church is, the Lord would have provided most, if not all, of the resources that you need, that you could use to impact family life, so that when we get to the educational discipline that we're now facing, the sexual challenges that we're now facing, male teachers running from the classroom because of sexual harassment, if it is dealt with from a community level, from a church level, I'm quite certain that we will be able to impact positively and to better family life. So those are some of the things that I am presently doing, my ministry will be presently doing at a community in Glasgow and to better family life.
Wonderful. That sounds wonderful. And I really applaud you, sir, for exercising the courage to make such a bold move. But from that particular initiative, Rev, is there a testimony that you would like to share with us coming out of that initiative?
Okay. Of course, we would have had evidence of marriages coming back together, the respect of vows coming back on road. Would have had persons committing their lives to the call of the Lord Jesus Christ. Would have seen persons gone off to college, gone back to school. Would have seen persons really want to climb the educational ladder. Families sitting beside each other in a church service. Persons who were not talking to one another. Social programs were so geared at rebuilding those relationships. So we had persons who weren't talking for years who are really conversing like a family now. Some of our youngsters are better able to express to their parents through these seminars, these programs, and these training events that we would have been having. And if I should add up all of that, I would agree. I would have to attest to the fact that the social interventions that we've been having as a church indeed would have been giving the results it did.
Amen. All right, Pastor, I've listened to you testify about the success just now of the social intervention. How important is it, though, for a church community and its leadership to invest in social intervention? I know the reality in some churches is that we will focus on preaching. We give it to you hard. We might give it to you in a way that it's probably a little bit easier for you to swallow. But how important is it to balance that carefully with some social intervention to have professionals come in and help to empower our people, not only the young, but also the middle age, the golden ages. How important is it?
Well, Mr. Gowans, I think I would sum up that question. I would attempt to answer that question with a statement
Yes.
written some times ago, if I'm not mistaken, by Miles Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
He said in one of his books, what this world is suffering from is
Right.
many leaders but few leadership.
Uh-huh.
That's a profound statement.
It is.
If your followers are not behind you, if you don't have the ability as a leader to get your followers behind you, then leadership cannot be effective.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many institutions, and I'm speaking of educational institutions, church institutions,
Mm-hmm.
and all the institutions that we can think of, that the vision isn't clear.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, the followers cannot line up to buy into the vision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm challenging all our leaders by this medium this morning.
Yes.
If you can communicate the vision to those you lead, I am quite certain you would be able to influence them to change.
Yes.
Right? So if the people don't see where you're going, you are going to have struggles. You will have problems with these social interventions that I speak of. But if the leader is so skillful, professional, and prior committed, devoted, if the leader has the requisite skills, the people will come on board. They will buy into the vision. So it all goes back to leadership skills, leadership styles. It all goes back to the passion of the leader, the ability of the leader to communicate the vision. So I'm saying that I'm in summarizing, I would be saying that rise and fall stops with the leadership if you're going to have any challenges with these social interventions. I don't. Last August, my entire youth group was taken to the river.
Mm-hmm.
There are many leaders who would never go to a river to have a riverside cookout with their young people. I used that opportunity to bond with the young people, listen to what they are going through. Right at the riverside, it was a social intervention.
Mm-hmm.
The young people came back, rapped with their leader, and it would have impacted their lives, and it would have added value to their life and make them better citizens. There are many leaders would say who are past going to the beach with these young people. Oh no, we need to stop thinking that narrow and really think about what Christ would do. He would have gone down to the people. He would have gone down to the people's level to raise them up.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of leadership I embrace. I think in some books it refers to as transformational leadership.
Yes.
That's the type of leadership I would embrace. You've got to get to the level of the people with the ability to raise them up.
Yes. Well said. All right. We could talk to you for hours, and we still don't feel like we would have gotten
Oh my!
gotten all of what you really have to share with the listening public. But I'm so happy that you made yourself available, and you told us last week that you're here to serve. So whenever we need you, we can just call on you, which is just incredible to hear. But before you go, we would not allow you to leave without sharing a word of inspiration with our listeners. I don't know where you're going to direct this word, but the floor is yours, sir.
Okay. The word I would have directed to our leaders again, and to those who serve in the educational system.
Yes.
I would say approach your duties, approach your roles and your responsibilities with joy.
Yes.
Experience what I term joy at work. If you're not happy where you're working, it's going to affect what you give off. It's going to affect your roles, your responsibilities. It's going to affect your duties. I would want to say to our guidance counselors who are out there this morning, because we play a very important, a fundamental role in the educational system. Guidance counselors, be reminded that our roles, our responsibilities would have outlined by the Ministry of Education that we were employed to shape the individuality of our students.
Yes.
We would have been employed to make a positive impact on our students academically, behaviorally, and socially. So I want to challenge the guidance counselors. It's difficult times. The challenges are staring us in our faces, but be guided by our roles and our responsibilities. There are students out there, there are parents out there, there are stakeholders that are really depending on us as guidance counselors to curve, to impact positively when it comes to behavioral changes and academic changes. There's a school community that is depending on you. So I'm asking my guidance counselors, when we do get to work, it is a new school term for some of us, a new semester,
Mm-hmm.
try to experience what is called joy at work. And I
Yes.
would also say to our school counselors this morning that in the midst of the challenges that you face as you give off daily and know the challenges, spend some time to deal with yourself. I refer to it as self-ministry.
Yes.
There has to be some time out for you as a counselor. If not, we're gonna become burnt out, and we won't be able to impact to carry out our roles and responsibilities as the Lord would have so wanted us. The Lord would have strategically placed us in this position as guidance counselors to serve better, to embrace the administration of our schools, not to fight against the administration of our schools, but to embrace the administration of our schools as we seek to better or as we seek to mold young lives. I'm challenging our counselors this morning and in concluding, the Lord is depending on us as we have been employed as clinical helpers in this school.
Yes. Dr. Stennett Davis, I must
Yes,
say
Mr.
a
Gowans.
big thank you to you, sir. Not only for this week, but also for last week. For just sharing with us, out of your busy schedule. I am totally grateful. The Tops family is grateful and appreciative, sir, of you sharing with us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Have
Sir,
a blessed day, Mr. Gowans.
sir, and from me personally, in the words of Paul to the Galatians, be not be weary in well doing.
Wow, wow. I
Yes.
appreciate the same, sir.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Be blessed. Okay.
Yes. That was Dr. Stennett Davis. So much knowledge, in kingdom building. This is the second week consecutive week that we would have spoken to him, and there's still more to tap into, but he has made himself available to speak to us whenever we would like him to share with our listeners. And I'm inspired, and I know that there are other persons out there who are inspired by his contribution to this program. Again, Dr. Stennett, I must say a massive thank you to you, sir. Thank you so much.